Hello Maharshtan, Valtirash. Welcome back to my channel. This is Marie from Skeletorama. We're going to do a little something different today. I got some new paint. And whenever I get new paint, I like to swatch the new paint so that I have a reference of what it looks like. This isn't a new paint, by the way. This is some old paint. So I have some swatches here, which I'll explain in a second. But anyway, so I'm going to place the blame for this purchase firmly on Boylai Hobby Time. Because when he finishes his dioramas, he paints the edges with paint called Black 3.0. It's made by an artist named Stuart Semple. And it's one of the blackest blacks. I think it is the blackest black that exists. It absorbs, I want to say, like 98% of visible light. It's really dark. And I was watching one of his videos and I saw it and I went, wait, I think he did a mirror paint, didn't he? Yes, he did, and that led to a rather expensive purchase, which finally showed up. So I'm going to show you that, and we're going to swatch it, and we're going to see what do these paints really look like in real life. So when I went over there, I bought 3 different things. I bought unicorn milk. So this is a pearlescent. You can see it in the bottle. It's a pearlescent paint. So basically you paint this over the top of a color that's not pearlescent to make it pearlescent, right? And you get a stirring stick for it, and you also get information on the unicorn sanctuary that you're supporting by doing this, and the different unicorns, which is just the cutest thing ever. Love it. Love the packaging. So we're going to try that one out. And then I got, oops, I got some bubble wrap stuck to it. I got this set. This is a heavy metal set. So this particular set has 4 colors. It has gold, which is gorgeous looking. It has a silver. It has a copper, and it has the one that I was most interested in, which is black gold. This is what I want to do the Black Knight with, is this paint right here. So we will swatch those. And then I got the most expensive paint that I have ever purchased. I will just tell you that this is not cheap, but this is the mirror paint. And this, I'm not gonna say how much it was, but you can go over, it's Culture Hustle is the website. I'll put the information down below, but this is the size of the bottle of paint, and it is not cheap, but I've seen results of it and it's phenomenal. So we're going to swatch all this stuff. We're going to see, is this the shiniest mirror paint ever? Is this the shiniest copper paint ever, etc., etc. So we'll set these up here. So what I've done is I have 2 pieces of MDF. They're over here to the side because I've already put 1 layer on them. I cheated. That's why this isn't plastic anymore. But I wanted to see it. I couldn't wait to see it. So what I did was I painted it black with black gesso. I used the Art Basics Heavy Gesso from Finnabair in black, because usually your metallics will pop better off of black than they do white. So I did that. I also have one we're going to use in comparison with the mirror paint, which is my former favorite shiny chrome paint, which is the Tamiya acrylic paint in chrome silver, which this stuff's great. If you watch the episode that I did of how to make a metallic finish, this is what I used for that. So we're going to compare these 2 here. All right, so in order to do this swatching, what I've done is I have taken, for the metallic paints, I don't have any white cardstock. I have craft cardstock though. And it's interesting to see what these do over different colors underlayments, right? So I have the black gesso here, and I have the Liquitex Basics white gesso over here on this side. And then for the unicorn milk, I have also a black gesso here, just because I'm curious what it'll look like over black. And then I have some different paints. So I've got cheapy acrylic Anita's. This is like $1 or $2 at the craft store. And I have ones that were not $1 or $2. These are the Impasto paints by Art Alchemy again, Finnabair. So that's these 3 here. This one right here is Dilutions, which I love her paint. And then this poor thing here, this is what happens when you don't use your craft supplies, kids. So see this? What happened is the, acrylic paints are essentially a kind of a plastic, and so you have your color pigment is suspended in a medium, and if you don't use it for a long time, either that medium's going to dry out, leaving you just the material that was suspended in it, or it's going to separate. And I think this and what happened to my glue are about the same thing, where when we were moving, it ended up in the garage, and then we had a cold snap we weren't expecting, and I think some of it froze. So this is kind of separated. I was able to get a little bit of color out, not very much, but it'll do anyway, because I want to see what this stuff looks like over all these different surfaces. And then what I'll do is, once everything's dry, I'll write on here what the color was, and then I keep it in my drawer, like where I showed on the room tour. So some of these have special requirements for cleaning. This one you have to clean with mineral spirits. I believe the Tamiya is the same way. So I don't have any mineral spirits, so my brush is gonna, it's gonna be fatal to my brush, but it's gonna look nice. It's done, I'll probably use it in something. But these ones I believe are water soluble. And it says on here, yeah, see, clean brushes with water. So to that end, I have my mason jar of water over here. And then I have my brushes. These are the ones that I get in the like classroom packs, so that if I'm gonna kill something, I don't feel so bad. I have a habit of using this for glue and Mod Podge, and I swear you can just not get that stuff out, no matter what you do. So I think what we'll play with first, we'll leave the best for last. We'll play with first is the unicorn milk. So I'm gonna go ahead and shake it really good. Or no, stir with the stir. We're gonna follow the directions, God forbid. Okay, so we're gonna open this up. And it's the first time I'm using that, so we'll take the seal off. I like to put this back in here because it does help keep air and stuff out of it. So hopefully I stirred that well enough. We'll find out. And I do have, I got these at Lowe's. They were actually on clearance. They're disposable microfiber cloths. So if you're gonna try those too. All right, so we have our paintbrush. I'm just gonna dip in here. Normally I wouldn't, normally I put it in a palette. But I'm gonna paint it over this. I'm gonna paint it over half, I think. So that way I can see what the difference is, right? I can see the pearlescent, and I can already see this looks pretty. I can already see I didn't, probably didn't stir well enough, which I'm not surprised at that, but put a nice thin layer over here. And the nice thing with this is it's very translucent, obviously, so you're not gonna have to use a ton of it in whatever it is that you're doing for that, so we can really see it. And we'll try on this. I feel so bad about this poor little paint. All right, there we go. We'll put our brush in there. It's the water. We're going to close this up. All right, and let's hold it up and see. Yeah, that's actually a really nice, hopefully I'm getting the light to bounce off of it. You can see how it gives it a nice pearlescent. It's really, it's not in your face, which you don't necessarily want the pearlescent to be in your face like that. Otherwise you'd use a glitter paint, right? This one could be better, but that's, I'm sure, me not stirring it right, because everybody else is fine. So I'm gonna go user error on that. But look at that, that's pretty. Okay, so we're gonna sit this up here. We'll let that continue to dry. And now we're gonna play with the metallics. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna do these, I'm gonna do one stripe across here because I wanna see how does it pop off black versus white versus this. Because like when you're doing that faux metal finish, if you use black gesso, it's gonna look older and more tarnished than if you use white gesso, it'll look newer and stuff. So I'm guessing it's gonna be the same with this. And this will tell me what color I want my, night to be, which I got black, but I mean, I can use that for something else, and I can just use some regular for him if I need to, but so, all right, let's start with silver. Actually, I'll start shaking these here. So give me just a minute. And I'm thinking these would probably work best in an airbrush. I just don't have one, nor do I know how to use one. But someday, it's on my list of really expensive things that I probably shouldn't get. All right, so let's start with the silver. And a lot of times with these, you want to build up thin layers, okay? So that's what we'll do on here. I'll do one layer, I think, that covers the whole thing, and then I can come back and do 2/3 of it with another layer and 1/3 of it with a third layer. So we'll see how that looks. Put you back in there. All right. And again, you know, normally you would want to use a palette with it, but I'm going to go ahead and go across both of these. Okay, so that's our first layer. And so it's nice and translucent, so yeah, you're definitely going to have to build it up with this. Okay, so that's the first layer of the silver. Put that in there. Shake up the gold. Do it next. This is so insanely pretty. I can't even stand it. Love, love. Copper is probably one of my favorite colors. Also, when you're doing these things where you've got this kind of stuff where you need to do the thinner layers and whatnot of it, you know, just remember when you have your brush, if you clean it out with water, get as much water as you can out of it, because the water is going to dilute it and it's going to make your layer even thinner. So let's do gold. Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, that's very pretty. And see, it's going to have a slightly different look again between the black and the white underneath. All right. Let's do the copper. And then I'm super interested in the black because, again, that's what I want to do the armor with. I think that would look really awesome, and I wouldn't have to do anything extra to it, which I'm a big fan of, not having to do extra things to things, right? Okay, put you in there. Thing. Okay. Oh, I love this. So pretty. Oh, my dear sweet baby Jesus. Okay. Yeah, I like the copper. And the copper goes on nice, and look at that. Look at the coverage on that. That's very pretty. It's got a nice red base to it. Love. Okay. Yeah, I think I like that one. Yeah, and the combined cost of these four is about the cost of that one there. So, you know, nice thing is, I mean, this will go a long way unless you're making very large, you know, mixed media style paintings or something, even then. So these work out to, I want to say, about 15 a piece, somewhere in there, 10 or 15. Okay. Ooh, look at that. Pretty pretty. It's got a nice kind of a brown cast to it. In there. Let's see how. Ooh, I like this. Oh, that's pretty. All right, so these are the first layers of these four, and I can already tell that while these may be a little more translucent, need more, these probably wouldn't need much more than 2 coats on there. All right, so while these dry, before we do the other layers, we're going to look at our mirror paint. Okay, so again, I've got my Tamiya here. I've got my mirror paint. I have my MDF. I have some that I painted black. And here is a layer of it with the Tamiya, which is nice and shiny, but I mean, you can tell it needs more coats to it to be as shiny as it can be. You ready for this? That's the mirror paint. That is insane. It's absolutely insane. And let's see if I can bring it up into focus. This stuff right here, I can tell you, if I had an airbrush to do, you'd probably be able to see the camera in it. But since I used a paintbrush, of course, it's not even. I'm hoping maybe that next layer will bring it out, and we'll see. But yeah, it's very shiny. It's just stunning. So what we'll do is I'm going to put a layer of this here. I'm going to put a layer of this here, and I'll do its second layer on here as well at the same time. So we're going to do Tamiya first, because I want to leave the reveal of what this looks like in the bottle until after you've seen this. All right, so we have the Tamiya, and as you can see, it's absolutely beautiful, very shiny. If we put it on here, see, it's very, very reflective. You know, looks very much like chrome. And let's do one little swath of it here. Again, you can see when you compare this to this, they look kind of similar. Okay, so now this requires mineral spirits too. So what I'm doing is I'm brushing it off on here until this is off of here. So I also don't want to mess this up, which it shouldn't. They're going to have a very similar base to them. All right, mirror paint. Both of these are flammable, by the way, which tells you that their base you got to be a little more careful with. So we're shaking this up real good. Put that guy up there to dry. All right. Okay, are you ready for this? I hope that you can see this with the camera. Do you see that? Do you see this? It looks like mercury. It looks like liquid mercury in here. This stuff is just stunning. Here it is on the paintbrush. You see that? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a nice strip of it here. I mean, holy crap, look at that. And we're gonna put one more layer on here. And again, I think it would have a much better chance of being reflective if I weren't using a brush. But I mean, look at this. This is insane. Is this worth the price of it for me? Absolutely, it is worth the price of it for me, just for the amount of shininess on there. And then even though I'm gonna put my brush out, I mean, look, what a pretty silver brush I have. This brush used to be, you know, that color. So yeah, very nice. Okay, so we're gonna let this dry up here, and let's go ahead and put another layer on these guys. So again, we'll start with our silver. With this stuff, it's best to shake it up each time before you go to use it. Oops, that's a bit more than I really need. So I'm going to do 2/3 of this with the second coat. Okay, so I've got one coat, 2 coats. And then once it's dry, we'll do a third coat on the left side to get kind of a gradient, just to see. It'll give you an idea. You know, everything is going to be different. It just depends on your substrate. It depends on the color of your substrate. With stuff like this, it is always best, if you can, to gesso it, either white or black, to give you the best surface, because that way your surface is all the same color as well. Okay, so we got layer number 2 going down here. This is so pretty. This is going to make frames for doll houses a lot of fun, because this is the shiniest of the golds that I have as well. All right, so now we'll do the copper. Oh yeah, see, I didn't think it could get prettier, but apparently it can. Huzzah for that. And then we've got our black. Oopsie, sorry. Hopefully that didn't register too loud. All right. So black on here. Oh yeah, that's gonna look really, really cool. This would be great for any kind of suit of armor. If you do any sort of dioramas, or anybody that does them for, you know, making things look metallic, it's really a really nice one. Okay, so on this, we're gonna do a second layer again too on top of it, because I already know that this, the Tamiya for sure, using 2 layers is preferable. I'm just not going to bother with, I keep trying to put that in the water. I'm not going to bother with the larger swatch like those. All right, there's that. And then once again, we have the mirror. And I will do my very best to keep my brush and everything out of the way. I think if I spilled this, I would cry. Holy Jesus, okay. I'm just surprised I can still keep it PG with this, because this is just stunning stuff. I mean, look at that. There's no contest, none. Look at that. That is crazy. So this, and you can see the importance of having that underlying color, right? Because the way it looks on top of the craft is not nearly as impressive as if you have a layer of gesso on top of that. Okay, so we got that there. Let's take a look at these. Should be nice and dry. So yeah, these are gorgeous too. You know, and that opens up a whole new world of things. I tend to buy lots of pearlescent paint, so I never have any flat paint to put on anything when I need flat paint. This way I can buy all flat paint, and if I need it pearlescent, I'll put this on top, because that does it for sure. It looks really cool on the black too. So there we go. So as far as my impressions of the paint, yeah, it's worth it. And it took forever to get here, because it's in, they're based out of the UK, and it's a very small shop. It's like, you know, 9 people working in this shop and getting this stuff out. So just know, if you order it, it's gonna take a minute, but that's fine. It's so worth it when it gets here. I mean, look at this. And this is perfect for dollhouse mirrors, because you want them to look reflective and mirror-like, but you don't necessarily want them to actually reflect the thing that's across from them. Can you use like the plastic mirror stuff? You can. I have some. I use it. But the thing I thought would be really cool for this is, you know, I'm doing a haunted house. Now I have to figure out somewhere to get one. But I want to have a mirror with an actual ghost coming out and paint her the color of the mirror. Could I do that with that stuff? No. Could I do that with this? Absolutely. No question. If I had an airbrush, I could probably do it where you could see yourself in it. So anyways, I hope you found this somewhat helpful and informative. And yeah, I look forward to showing you some of these things in action. I will put the third swatch on there, but I don't think y'all need to see that part. This is the one I was the most excited about, was the mirror paint, and it absolutely delivered. That's just gorgeous. Oh, now I'm going to start pricing airbrushes, I bet. Watch. And I think I'll need to do it on the white. I think this would have come out a lot shinier if it was on the white. So, but that's why you do these. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you in the next one, where you will see these start to make appearances as we are doing different accessories, especially with the Black Knight. And then I do have a small animation cell that we're probably going to put into a picture frame, so I'll be using these, I think, to do the picture frame as well. So, see you guys later. Bye.